Hello everyone and welcome. We are here, we are live, we are ready to go, and I'm just going to do a quick check. Yes, my mic is working, that is good. I should check that every time, but sometimes I seem to have trouble. So welcome, this is a brand new series. In this series what we're doing is I'm going to just start a stock game, but it is a beautified stock game. So I've done nothing that affects the gameplay, but I have installed a stack of mods to make the game prettier. These include environmental visual enhancement, Parallax, which is putting all these lovely trees and many other things as we go to different places. You'll see them there. As well, I got Scatterer going that puts in that distant haze that you see. I've got ReStock, which retextures I think pretty much all of the parts, though doesn't in any way affect the gameplay. I got Waterfall, which affects the engine plumes, so lots and lots and lots of stuff. But and I also put in a handful of UI aids that I'm going to be using sparingly, but they're to fill in the gaps of where I think the UI in the game kind of lacks a little bit. Little tiny things, and I'll talk about those as we kind of get to them. But the main thing I want to emphasize is that if you are playing a pure stock game, you have no mods installed, you can do everything that I'm going to do. I've done nothing that affects the gameplay. I'm not going to play in such a way that you can't do the same thing in a stock game just as easily. So that is a good thing to do. I do have, by the way, both DLCs installed. I have the Breaking Ground DLC and the Making History DLCs installed in this one. But other than that, pure stock. I guess DLC really is pure stock because that stuff comes from Squad. And what I want to do with this stream, and this stream, by the way, was picked by my Patreon patrons and YouTube members. What I want to do is do something that someone who is relatively new or completely new to the game could kind of drop in, watch this, and get themselves started. And I'm gonna... There's been a few weeks since I successfully did a stream. I got tied up doing KSP 2 and getting into frustrations with that, which I'm not going to talk about here. But I want to get back into doing these weekly. So at this time, Tuesdays at this time, every week, unless I announce otherwise, I'm going to be doing a stream. Most of the time it's going to be this. We'll see what happens with KSP 2. Maybe every once in a while I'll drop in and do some stuff with KSP 2 if something interesting has come in that's new for that. But in the meantime, I do have some housekeeping items to take care of because it's been a few weeks since I last successfully did a stream, and there are some things I need to take care of. Number one is that on my Discord, I do have or it's not me that runs it, it's some of my wonderful admins that run this, a weekly screenshot of the week. It's, of course, weekly because it's called the Screenshot of the Week. And I recognize the winners of those on these streams, but it's been a few weeks, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of catching up. So I hope people don't mind doing a little bit of catching up. So here is screenshot number 1 from Mecca. The theme for this one was obviously watercraft. Here we have a craft recovering a vessel from the water. Then we have this one here from Silviat Bear. Silviat Bear, this theme was EVAs. A really nice kind of Voskod type of thing happening there, taking advantage of the making history parts with the, you can see our Kerbal up there. Then we have for our next winner here, we have Rob Beebe. I'm going to go with Rob Beebe. And the theme for this one was SSTOs. So there's a lovely SSTO either going into or leaving a... Actually, I was going to say a station, but I think it's got icy engines and things there, so I'm going to just go with it's just a larger vessel. And then, got two more. We have Benjamin here. Benjamin and... Whoops, oh, shoot. There we go. Which one did I click? I'm clicking bad buttons. Benjamin. Bad? Oh my god, I was trying to clean up the old ones and turning them on. What a doofus. I shouldn't be allowed to do anything. There we go, we're back to Benjamin again. I really shouldn't be doing this by myself. And this is our first KSP2 screenshot. The screenshot was, the theme for this one was simply first steps. So this is a KSP2 first step. And then finally, screenshot number 5, which is already, this is Bogdanosaurus. This is a KSP2 screenshot, but I believe it actually, well, whatever. It was open up to both KSP1 and KSP2, and the theme was simply EVAs. So, there we go. There are our screenshots. Let's get rid of all of those and get back to our... Hey, back to here again. I also want to take a moment to recognize my wonderful Patreon patrons and YouTube members. Usually I do this in a studio video, but again, the last couple of weeks, I've been falling behind with these kind of things. I want to get back on track with them, so I again have some catching up to do. And my channel has been quite busy, at least relative to my standards, over the last couple of weeks with KSP2 coming out. There seems to be a lot more interest in KSP1 as well. So I'm going to put up their names just to recognize my most recent Patreon patrons and YouTube members. So we have Jonas Thaler, MTick00, Arrow Briggs. I'm going to go with AC Trade 1, John D, Blading Park, Gundalai, Karen Woodcock, Niels Bannock, Christopher Cochran, and Kyle Bennett. Thank you very much to these newest supporters of this channel, and of course, especially to all of my Patreon patrons and YouTube members. With that out of the way, it is time for us to really get going with this. So let's get started. So, this is a career mode game. It is the normal difficulty, but I do want to make a couple of changes. So I'm going to pause. We're going to go into the settings. I'm going to click here on normal. And again, I keep this on normal because I find when you start messing with these sliders here, it just turns the game into being more grindy, which I don't particularly like. But there are some things I do want to toggle on here. So if I go into advance, I want to toggle on part pressure limits. I want to toggle on part G-force limits. This makes everything easier to break. I want to also toggle on Kerbal G-force limits, because the Kerbal G-force limits gives you those contracts where Kerbals can then pass out from G-forces, and you get these contracts trying to get them to pass out, which, I don't know, is fun for a couple of times. I'm also going to toggle on that you require a signal in order to control an uncrewed vessel, or a vessel without a pilot for that matter. And I'm also going to toggle on plasma blackouts. This is for during re-entry, you get the big plasma around the ship. That will black out radio signals, and you won't have communication with that. So I'm going to toggle all those things on. You can decide in your own games whether to toggle those things on or not, but I just want to let people know that I have. Also, in the settings, there are some things down here I most certainly want to toggle on. So if we go down here, about halfway down, a little more than halfway down, we have advanced tweakables. Why on earth that's not on by default, I don't know, but that gives you tons more tweakable options in the game, especially in the VAB and Spaceplane Hangar. So do make sure to turn that on. I want to point these out for people that are new. The extended burn time indicator, or extended burn indicator, you want that because that's what shows you time to your burn. Again, why you would want that off, I don't know. It should just be on all the time. And I'm also going to turn on ghosted navigation markers. That's a personal thing. I like them. Some people don't. That's up to you. That won't affect gameplay at all. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's resume our game. Let's get started. So what we want to do is we want to build our first craft. This is a career mode game. So in career mode, well, the basic gist of KSP in general is to go further, faster, and higher. And in order to do that, you need to unlock bigger and better parts. And in order to unlock bigger and better parts, you need to work your way down the tech tree. But in order to work down the tech tree, you have to get science points, and you earn science points by going out there and collecting science in further and further places from where you start from. Also in career mode, you need to manage your funds. You need to costs money to build things. Also, what you really need money for is upgrading these buildings. So in order to raise funds, what you need to do is get contracts. So we're going to go into mission control and grab our first couple of contracts. These first two, I always grab the same ones, which is simply to gather scientific data from Kerbin. That will get me 6,400 Kerb bucks, a little bit of science, a little bit of reputation. It's easy to sort of forget about reputation, but reputation does increase the number of contracts and the quality of the contracts, apparently, that you get. So I'm going to accept that one, and I'm also going to launch our first vessel. We're going to do both of those at the same time. Okay, so there we go. All right, so let's get ourselves into the vehicle assembly building, which is the building right here in the middle, and let's build ourselves our first vessel. And I don't know about you, but I always build the same thing when I get started. Yeah, Werner, we know. Werner's telling us stuff that we don't care about. You don't have a whole lot of parts when you get started, so you are kind of limited. You have a choice between the KV-1 Onion reentry module or the Mark 1 command pod. They're really just difference in styles. There's marginal difference in their numbers, but they're functionally the same. They hold a single Kerbal. I'm going to go with this one just because I'm used to it. You can, by the way, just make your first mission, just simply take this, put a Kerbal in it, launch it, and that counts as your first vessel. I mean, you can do that if you so like. I am not going to do that. I'm going to actually build something that's going to fly. If this thing is going to fly, we need to make sure that it can come down safely, and the easiest way to do that is to simply go under Utility, where you will find the Mark 16 parachute. So, Mark 16 parachute goes there on the top. By the way, you might be noticing textures look different. That is the ReStock mod. Also, what ReStock does is give you some more options when it comes to texturing. I actually start to lose track of which of these options are stock and which of these are ReStock. I don't know, but ReStock gives you more. I'm going to go with that white one. I kind of like that. Okay, so now we need to build something that can fly. So under engines, we only have here the RT-5 Flea solid fuel booster. We're going to stick that there on the bottom. And I'm going to rotate this. The default orientation when this comes out of the VAB is for the top of the capsule, which is always where the hatch is, to be pointing towards the south. But I'm going to actually roll this using the Q and E keys that way. Now the default is going to be, this is going to be pointing to the west, the hatch. So I'm going to pitch forward to go over the water, and I don't know, then it's right side up. So that it's up to you whether you want to do that or not. Oh, I should give this thing a name too. This is our first flight. There we go. Okay, so we've got that. This also has a couple of textures. Not much. I can just change the stripe, but here, we'll put a nice orange stripe on there. Okay, and we're also going to do some science. Remember, the name of the game is collecting science to unlock that tech tree. So, it does change drag on a few things, Richard is saying. Really? I always used to install ReStock with ReStock Plus, and ReStock Plus most certainly does change things. It adds gimbaling to these engines and stuff like that. I didn't think ReStock alone changed anything, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. If I am, I'm sorry, and I'll uninstall it, but I don't know. I wanted to make this game as pretty as I can. Anyway, getting back to science. The name of the game is Science. If I go into the Science tab, I do have these guys. These are coming from a mod. These are the only actual additional parts I get, which are coming from a mod called Kerbal Engineer. I said I was going to be... I'm just flat out not going to use this until I really it really has an advantage. It doesn't at this point, so I'm just going to ignore these parts. It does give me some extra vessel stats down here, which is really nice, that I can watch or hide away. It also gives me an extra, if I click here on the mod thing, extra building information, which is great when you get into more complicated crafts, but I'm not going to look at it here. We'll do everything just stock with this one. But I do have the familiar Mystery Goo Containment Unit. So I'm not going to put a scientist on this thing. Let's put on the snap so we can see it. This science equipment can be run just once. A scientist can then reset it to allow it to go again, but I'm not going to put a scientist in here because I want to have a pilot. So I'm only going to be able to run each of these once. The solution then is, well, if you can only run it once, just have more than one of them. So I should count how many of these I'm going to want. So each situation is going to be a new science experiment I can collect. So we're going to start off sitting on the launch pad. So that's going to be one situation. Then we're going to be flying in the air. And so what a I don't know what they exactly call it, but low flight in Kerbal, that's going to be a second situation. And then we're going to end up splashing down in the water if everything goes well. And that'll be a third situation. So I'm going to want to perform this 3 times. So I'm going to put on 3 of them. I'm going to click the hit R on my keyboard to switch it to mirror symmetry mode. And then I'm going to put on 2-way mirror symmetry because that will put them nicely like that. There we go. So there is our 2 science things. So this thing's actually pretty much all I'm going to do. Now, having said all that, there are 2 things that you really need to consider with every single rocket that you build. In fact, every single craft you build, planes, rockets, whatever. And the people that get themselves into trouble is usually because they've forgotten one of these 2 things. Now, as the rockets get more complicated, you need more things, but for everything, these 2 things you need to think about. What is the aerodynamic stability of the thing? So you get that by comparing the center of mass, so this is where the center of mass of the vessel is, and the aerodynamic overlay, which gives you the center of pressure. For a rocket, you want that center of pressure as far below, the lower the better, that center of mass. Here you can see that center of pressure is above where the center of mass is. So that will make this rocket unstable. You fix that by going into aerodynamics and grabbing some tail fins. We only have 1, the basic fin. I'm going to put on 3 of them. So I'm going to go out of mirror symmetry by pushing R. I'm going to push X to go to 3-way symmetry, and we're going to put on 3 of them like that. And you can see that that brings down that center of lift down like that. I can use the translate tool. Let's take the snap off, click on this, and I can even bring that center of lift even further down by simply dragging those lower like that. Okay, so that's going to make this rocket more stable. So that's one thing you want to think about always with all your vessels. What's the aerodynamic stability of the situation, at least for stuff that's going to be in an atmosphere of the thing. The second thing you want to think about is thrust to weight ratios. This is the one I think most people ignore. I guess the third thing is your staging. I want to turn the engine on first. Let's do that. So the engine's going to come on first, and then our parachute's going to come on afterwards. Okay, so thrust to weight ratio. So I'm going to open up this little tab, and I'm going to look down here at TWR 6.34. That means the acceleration of this craft is 6.34 times the force of gravity. It's huge. That's a lot. That's going to be, and in crafts that, even if they don't explode on you, they're tougher to control if they're accelerating like crazy. You might find it entertaining, but if you want something easy to fly, bring this center or thrust to weight ratio down to something reasonable. Now, don't bring it down to below 1, because if it's below 1, your vessel won't even go up. So I'm going to right click on my flea booster, bringing up this little context menu here, and I'm going to play with the thrust limiter. And as I bring it down, notice the thrust to weight ratio goes down. It's now 2.6. I'm gonna, I don't know, we'll find something reasonable for it. It doesn't have to be 1.52. That's reasonable. Okay, anything in that range would be fine for that one. And so there we go. There's our vessel. That's all it is. This thing's going to fly absolutely, it should absolutely well. Famous last words. One of the mods I want to show people, actually, before I get started, this is one of the UI things I added in. The stock contract window here is, I find it a little fiddly and frustrating. So I mean, it works perfectly fine, but what I like is this guy here. This is the contracts plus window, especially when you start getting lots of contracts. Gives you the full information about the contract, including all the rewards and penalties and everything like that. It gives you abilities to organize them into missions. It's awesome. So I'm going to use the contracts plus window. Now, one great thing in the settings here, if I go into settings, I can replace the stock toolbar with the contracts plus window. Close that. So now every time I hit the stock toolbar, it's the Contract Plus window. My stock toolbar has gone away. So if you're watching this and going, why does that look different? That's why. Okay, let's launch. We're doing it. Who's in there, by the way? Probably Jeb. Jebediah is in there. That's great. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's roll. Okay. I said I was going to be going a little bit slower. Again, with the idea that a new person can watch this and get going. In fact, if I look back at my previous stock live streams here, let's do this. So, actually, let's get some science going, and then we'll do this. So, science. First of all, we do have the crew report. That's an easy one to forget. All the capsules have crew reports. 1.5 science. We're just going to collect that, and then Jebediah is going to do an EVA, and he is going to. I guess he's supposed to be black on the back. He's going to collect that data. That's really important to collect that crew report, because what it ends up doing is freeing the crew report experiment so that I can perform it again a little later in this mission. Jeb can also do an EVA report. That's going to be 2.4 science. Notice there's also the transmit option, but I can't transmit because I don't have any antennas on this thing, so transmitting is not an option. So there we go. We've got ourselves a bit of science. We're going to board. Boom, like that. And then we're going to grab one of these mystery goos. We're going to observe that mystery goo for a further 3 science. That's great. We'll collect that with the rocket. Let's just do this. So, SAS on. You can increase the throttle if you like, but it doesn't matter because an SRB has no throttle control. So we're just going to do it. So I'm just going to punch it. And off we go. And I have no sound. I just realized I didn't have my headphones on. And I'm going to just go, oh no, let's, whoa, I'm messing myself up. Pitching over towards, doing my best. You can hear Chatterer going in the background. That's another mod. The full list of mods, by the way, is down there in the description. So I should have started pitching earlier, but that's okay. Let's do another one of these. Observe that. Here we have a mystery goo flying at Kerbal. Grab that one. And we are now out of fuel. So we are just now on a kind of a ballistic trajectory going along this way. You can see these waypoints. That's coming from the Waypoint Manager mod. That is this guy. It's nice that we can see. It puts some nice waypoints there, but you can actually go into settings and make it so that here's all waypoints are. I only want active waypoints, so now I don't see those waypoints. There we go. All right, we are coming down. Oh, I should do a crew report. Crew report here over the water. Well done. 3.5. Okay. Let's pop that chute. And we can now turn off our SAS. There we go. Yeah, and I was thinking, I was looking at my previous streams that I have done, and noticing that I really go fast in those. I mean, the last time I did a stock live stream was for the planet landing marathon. I started in science mode, and landed on every planet eventually. And in that one, come on, shoot, open up. There we go. In that one, I was going in orbit on my second mission, which is ridiculous. So I'm not going to do that. Oh, I cannot EVA. I was going to EVA my Kerbal, but I can't because I have to update the astronaut complex to EVA them off of the shore. Where am I getting those mods? Asks Christopher. I am getting the mods from CCAN. I always install, pretty much, unless I don't have any other option, I install all my mods from CCAN. So now it's just, we can time warp a little bit. Get a little closer to the water. There we go. And I'm going to put on SAS. I'm going to pitch forward just a little bit so that when this hits the water, and now I can take off, it's floating with all these dudes on the top. I just wanted to do that. Okay, so we're going to observe our last mystery goo here while we're bobbing up and down. That's 4 science like that. Jeb can EVA. Whoa, hang on there, Jeb. And he can do another EVA report here from the water. He can also collect that crew report that I did in flight. That frees up the crew report experiment so that I can do one more crew report for my last 2 science. So and that pretty much exhausts all the science that I'm going to do with this thing. And we're going to recover. Yeah, I really want to go, and so that somebody, I don't want to build some vessel that, you know, someone who's played the game a lot can muscle into orbit or get the job done just barely. I want to build something that pretty much anyone can kind of follow along and hopefully accomplish the same things. Okay, 31.6 science, that's 43 science altogether. I can't do a surface sample. Richard asked, what about the surface sample? I cannot do surface samples until I update the astronaut complex. So no surface samples. I think that's what I got to do. Is it? No, it's the R&D center you have to up. Yes. R&D center you have to get to update. So I need to get some more money before I can do surface samples. So that was all I could do. But I do have 43.6 science, so we're going to start unlocking nodes. We got basic rocketry for 5 science. We have engineering 101, some antennas, and some extra science there. And now I got, how much science do I got? 33. So that's never enough to do all of this. So I could go with basic rocketry, which gives me some bigger boosters and some better engines. I could go with stability for some bigger tail fins and some radial decouplers. Or I could go with survivability, which has more science. I always default to getting more science, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab more science. It's got heat shields, some extra parachutes, service bay. But mostly I want that barometer. So there we go. I'm going to grab that, and I can get, oh my gosh, 18.6. I can get one more. I'm going to get the stability too. Why not? There we go. So unlock some more tech nodes. Out we go. And we got all kinds of notifications here about contracts being completed, which, oh, also you get, if I look at our milestones, a whole pile of things we did first, and for each of these milestones you get money, science, and reputation. You got to keep it all coming in. Let's just delete all of them. We don't need that. Come here. Delete all. Yes. All right. And so with our monies, we're going to go back in here. Mission control. We're going to grab ourselves some more contracts. So we completed the 2 that we did. Now, these observational surveys are really for planes, so I'll wait till I have the parts to build a plane to do that. I might do that still today. We'll see how, I don't know where I'm going to go with this today. Part testing contracts. Be careful with these part testing contracts. I'm not a huge fan of them. They often have these like very specific altitude and speed requirements. Like in this one, I have to take the Mark 16 parachute. I have to get it between an altitude of 6 and 11 kilometers, going at a speed of 80 to 280 meters per second. To be honest, that's really not that hard. But you want to take a look at that because sometimes they catch you by surprise. They're a bit of a pain. Sometimes you get ones that are dead easy. But, you know, be careful. Like here, for instance, I haven't even gotten into orbit, and it says test the TT-12 decoupler while orbiting Kerbal. I haven't even gone into orbit yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to escape the atmosphere. Let's grab that one. We can hold up the 2 contracts, so we should grab one more. You know what? What's this one about the flea? Test the flea at this altitude between the speeds. You got to perform the test during the state. That means I got to take another flea with me. Or I could do that Mark 16 parachute. Activate. I don't want to activate the parachute. Well, get activated on the way down. Let's do this one. Let's see how it goes. RT-5 flea. If it ends up being a pain, it ends up being a pain. I usually end up at a situation where I don't do those too much anymore. Okay, so we got our contracts. Let's get in and build something. So this goal, we'll go new here. Actually, bring that back. Load that up. The goal of this, we're going to do some modifying to this because I do want to test this flea. This might have been, let me look at these contracts again. Got to be between this altitude. Okay, whatever, we'll see. But let's see if we can get this thing up into space here. We do now have some decouplers. At least we should. So if I go to coupling, yes, I have the TD-12 decoupler. So I can slide that into here so I can actually separate the capsule from the rest of the rocket. Do I have heat shields? I do. We're going to just do a suborbital thing. You can get away with not having heat shields, but just to be complete, I'll put the heat shield on like that. Okay, and then actually what I think I do have too, do I have a, I do, I have the little service bay. This is a sweet little part. Open that up. Nice, they can stow stuff away in there. I like this thing. Okay, still can't do EVAs. Let's, this is going to be a suborbit. Just want to save what I got so far. Get our first Kerbal into space. I want to see if I can upgrade the astronaut complex just to do EVAs, because it'd be really nice to be able to do some EVAs in space. Might not have the money for it. So the astronaut complex costs 75,000 Kerbucks. This will allow me to perform EVAs in space. Allow me to have up to 12 Kerbals, and if you hold over, Kerbals can EVA and place flags. I have 150. I can afford it. I'm going to grab that. So we've upgraded our first building, the astronaut complex. Oops. And then I click on the wrong building there. Okay. So that means that I can do EVAs and collect stuff and stuff. So that's going to be good. So let's think about this. Let's go into science and think about what science I want. I do want 2. Well, let's see if we can get into high space. I'm going to put 3 of them in here. And I got my fingers in the wrong spot. I'm just going to rotate that like that. Nice. And then I'm going to put 2 of them. Go to mirror symmetry. So a little bit out of the way. Snap off that. Just going to put all our science in here. Times the move button, you need to kind of reset. Oh, it does that if I do that. Okay, here's where the advanced tweakables can go in. If I right click on something, one of the things here is remove from symmetry. That's something that comes with the advanced tweakables. And I can now click that and move this one independently of the other one. Now I don't want them to stick out the back. No, I think they should be fine. So always get your advanced tweakables going. Good stuff. Okay, and then we're going to take our other science parts. We now have the thermometer. Oh, I don't want 2 of them. I think that's right side up. Not that it matters. And we have our barometer. There, and that tweaks in there nicely. I could also, because I'm now under communications, I could put on an antenna so that we can transmit, but I'm not going to because this is just going to come back anyway. Okay, let's look at our... Oh, wait, let's think about... So this isn't going to get into space yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to coupling. We're going to put decoupler on the bottom of this thing. And, oh, I don't have the bigger boosters. Poop sores. Okay. Oh, I do have radial decoupler. So, okay. Okay, let's see what we got here. So I'm going to put a... this is twice as big as the flea. It's called the Hammer SRB. What's that give me for a TWR here on the bottom? Still huge. So as long as my TWR is still decent, I can just stack these. It's going to be a lot of stages. Oh, I do also have a... Okay. Nah, we're going to go with this. We're going to go all SRBs. Just go straight up. Okay, what's the TWR on the bottom? 1.97. Delta V, let's put it on vacuum. This always gives you an indication of just how far up you're going to go. Can I get another? Do another. 3-stager. Actually, let's go with a 2-stager. And the reason why I'm thinking about just a 2-stager is because I'm thinking that I want to see if I can hit the right altitude and speeds here for by the time I hit the flea. That's probably going to be a tall order. I'm regretting now grabbing this part testing one. Ah, well, whatever. And again, there are some extra texture. Let's go with all orangey stripes. Why not? This is a goofy thing. Okay, we do need to think about aerodynamics. Now, by the time this guy goes, we're going to be in the very upper atmosphere, so I don't think I need to think about aerodynamics there. But for this one, I probably do. I could also go radial, by the way. I'm just experimenting for now. I could go... I got radial decouplers. I could put stuff on the side, but I'm not going to do that. So let's take a look at this. Boom, boom. Oh, this staging is all wrong. I'm going to put this here and that there. Okay. So when that decoupler goes, that engine comes on. Good. Okay. So that is a 3.48 thrust to weight ratio. That is a little on the high side, so we're going to bring that down. 2.11 is probably good. And actually, probably this one is on the low side now, so we're going to bring this one up. It's nice to have a sort of steadily increasing thrust to weight ratio for something like this. Sure. But I also want to take a look at, again, aerodynamic stability and thrust to weight ratio. Those are the two big ones. So let's grab some more small tail fins. Again, let's go with 3 again. And let's go with 4. There we go. So that brings the center of lift down below the center of mass. Now we're going to put on our next stage. Again, notice the center of lift is too high, so I'm going to grab, again, some of these small tail fins. And... sure, why not 6 of them, just like that. I think that should work pretty well. Okay, we'll take that off. Let's I'm gonna rotate this so that the capsule's pointing the default orientation, because that messed me up a bit last time. Alright, and let's see. When that engine comes on, I need to decouple that, and that engine's on the bottom. Our launching thrust to weight ratio is 1.95. Notice how you can switch between sea level and vacuum. I want that to be most certainly lower. 0.85 is no good though. All right, 1.35 sounds good. Okay, this is going to be a test flight. This is going to be a test flight. Oh, blinky lights. Yeah, I do like my blinky lights, but I haven't unlocked them yet. So let's do just a quick test flight. Our pilot is, we had Jebediah last time, so this time it's going to be Valentina. Definitely want a pilot. No, sorry, Bob and Bill, but your turn will come. Your turn will come. I could put on more SRBs too if this doesn't go high enough, but the main thing I want to test, and this is because I picked up that silly part testing contract, which I'm already kind of regretting, but the main thing I want to see is when I stage the flea SRB on the top, I want to be in this little narrow altitude at this. Oh, this is, I don't know if I can tweak it. I shouldn't have done this. Okay, let's see what happens. So SAS on, throttle up, or no throttle up, just it's all SRBs. I'm just going to go straight up. So what I'm looking at is, can I get in this altitude at this speed on the, when I go to the flea SRB? That's what I need to do to test the test that guy. Well, I could run the test. I wonder if that'll work. That. So no science again. This is just a this is a test. I'll run this again. I want to go straight up, straight up, straight up, straight up. Okay. Next one. Be ready to stage. Of course, hitting the space bar. Oh, I think I need more SRBs, don't I? And you can see how stable this is. It's not wanting to flip over. Like, I'm hard pitched over. It's a little bit hard to control because there isn't much in the way of control McJobs on it. That's the official term for that, by the way, control McJobs. But it is stable. There's no issues with stability. All right, I'm going to definitely be lower than the altitude I need to be when I hit the flea, but let's keep doing this and see what happens. Next one. Next one. Oh, doesn't that look pretty down there? Alright, am I ever going to get to this altitude in this? And click on the maneuver tool here. Well, our max altitude is nice. I am going too fast. There is this run test button. I'm not sure if the game will be happy with that. But I need to drop my speed. My speed is too high. I know the game said to do it through staging, but oh, I'm too high now anyway. Alright, so I messed up. I shouldn't have picked that. I always hate... Why do I pick up those stupid contracts? Just because there was a second one doesn't mean I had to do it. Alright, forget it. So what we're going to do, we're going to revert. We're going to do this. We're going to do it for science. We're going to do it for science. I'll do the flea thing. We're going to keep this just the way it is. So for science, let's launch this and actually collect the science this time. So, yeah, let's do it. Let's just do it. Do it, do it, do it. Do it, do it, do it. Do it, do it, do it. Yeah, Control McJobs is the official term for that. I tell you. Oh, something I get asked all the time, because I like having the Navball over here towards the left. And I always get asked in YouTube comments, what's the mod that does that? Well, it isn't a mod. It's in the settings. Just go to settings. Where is it here? It's under UI here. Flight UI. Navball position. And you just slide that right over to the left. Boom. Done. Right? So, I like it here. Okay, so science. So we're going to open up this little door here. And we got some science to do. Now, we've already done a crew report and a mystery goo. There's no sense of that, but we can do a temperature scan. I just realized I probably should have put on more than one of these. And we can do a pressure scan. Yeah, this wasn't well thought out. I'm just realizing that. That's okay. We'll get science later. And then I'm hoping... Yes, we're close enough that we can grab that data and collect it. Nice. Okay, now Valentina can get back inside. And what we need to do, let's see. I'm going to grab one of these. And I'm going to grab this guy. And I'm going to grab this guy. And I'm realizing I should have had more than one pressure scan and more than one thermometer, because there's low atmosphere and there's high atmosphere, and I'm only going to be able to do it once because I don't want to open the door during flight. So I should have put on 2 barometers and 2 thermometers, but I didn't because I wasn't thinking about it. Okay, so let's just do it. We're going to go to space. 3, 2, 1, and punch it. Off we go. So I don't want to collect any of these just yet. I'm going to wait for high space. So my goal here really is just to go straight up. Do my best to go straight up. And high space, by the way, is 18 kilometers. So once we cross 18 kilometers, I'll do this science. I'll also do a crew report. Wow. So I'll pin that over to the side here and get that ready. And you know what? Let's drift a smidge towards the west. Seems to be wanting to do that anyway, just so that we'll land over here somewhere, and that'll be a new biome of some kind. Okay. Keep track of what our Apple Wapsis here is. That'll be our maximum altitude. Again, just I'm right now really just yawed over hard, just trying to keep it going relatively straight up. Okay, these SRB stink for control. Next one. Okay, what? Oh, I can do these now. I'm in. So log the temperature scan, log a pressure scan, and log that mystery goo. There we go. Close all these windows. Alright, how high is she going to go? That's the question. So 250 kilometers is high space. We're not making it. So it's not a... Okay, this wasn't well designed. That's okay. Oh, crew report. Crew report while we're here too. The other thing you can do too, once the air gets pretty thin, it's thin enough now, is you can EVA your Kerbal, and she'll hang on there, and you can do an EVA report, and then you can go back in from the upper atmosphere. And again, that's why I upgraded the astronaut complex, so that she could do that. Okay, we are now in space, so now I'm going to open this up. I'm going to EVA our Kerbal. We're going to collect that crew report by just simply saying take the data. I can now let go, and I'm going to do RCS. Now, I get people that comment to me they have trouble with the jetpacks and flying their Kerbals around with their jetpack. So my recommendation is, before doing that, before letting go, hitting quick save and just practice. And then you can always revert back. You got a lot of time now. It's going to be a while before we're going back down. So practice. Practice like going around the craft like this. Practice going down, which is the left control key. Practice going up. Maybe go down and go under and go up. And if you end up messing up, you know, you can just revert back. But you practice a little bit, you'll get to the point where you got this down. Okay, so let's see here. We can do an EVA report from space. Definitely. Then we can go into here and board. And we can do another crew report, because I took the old one out. So that's 5 science for space near Kerbin. We can do another mystery goo. That is great. We can do a thermometer. Oh shoot, she never collected that, so we're going to need to exit our vehicle again. So that's EVA. Get down there. Take that crew report out of there while you're at it, Valentina. And we're going to take that data. We're going to take that data. Should also be here. Let's go back inside. Board. Put on SAS so we're not tumbling anymore. Now we can log another pressure scan. Log another temperature scan. And I got a third mystery goo, which is going to have to go to waste. I mean, I could run it if I wanted to, and it looks like I got some science here, but if I EVA Valentina and try to collect it, it'll say, you know, it'll say, wait, you already have some of this stuff, right? And you're like, yeah, you're right, I do. So I can't collect it because I have 2 goo reports from space. Oh no, that's not what this is saying. This is saying this experiment won't run anymore after you've collected it. Yeah, I'm going to remove the data anyway. But now if I try to collect this, let's try this again. Okay, let's collect this. At some point I'm going to get a message because I know I'm now holding... There, it's just telling me that I can't run this again. I want to collect all this stuff because me and my not thinking, we're coming back down now. I'm looking at my altimeter. We're going to lose all this. I should have put the decoupler on the other side of this thing, but I didn't because I'm dumb. Grab that. Board. See, it's giving me experiment. Can't store the experiments, and that's because I have 2 mystery goos from space near Kerbin. It's not going to let me collect both of those, so I have to dump one of them. It says dump experiments, but I'm actually only dumping the one. And you can see it if you hit review your stored data. I have an atmospheric pressure scan, I have the crew report, I have an EVA report, another crew report, another temperature scan, pressure scan, an EVA report. Come on, there should be 2 goos. A mystery goo from space near Kerbin, and a mystery goo from the upper atmosphere, and that is it. And then another temperature scan. And that's because of my lack of foresight is all the science I'm going to be able to collect. And I had to make sure I've collected all this stuff because I'm going to be throwing this away in a sec. If you right-click on it, by the way, if there's something in there, it will say review data. So it's not a bad idea to take a look and make sure that that doesn't say that. So anyway, we're on our way back down. So I'm going to just put this... I like to turn onto one of these little normal vectors and push this off to the side. So like that. And then that way I don't have to worry about ever running into that. And going down in a retrograde orientation is always a good plan. The parachute is already armed. I had it on the same staging group as that decoupler. So, and we are now descending through the atmosphere. And everything should be fine. Okay. Good time warp a little bit. Oh, yeah, it's giving me a warning about, don't show this again, that physics warp. It always gives you a warning with the physics warp. I'm just ignoring it. Okay, so coming down, I can see we're going to be landing somewhere. Probably grasslands would be my guess. All right. Hello, Wolfie. Glad you made it there. We're doing ourselves a really nice sciencey. Okay, I can do another crew report. This is crew report over flying over Kerbin's grasslands. Might as well grab that one. So this is a little bit ill-conceived, not optimized, I guess is the word for it. We're gonna be landing right outside of some people's houses, maybe right in somebody's backyard. I actually should try and see if I can get rid of these textures. They look kind of funny with all the trees growing through it. Because Parallax is putting the trees. Oh, that's our booster hitting the ground. I'm going to wait for... I'm going to put this on terrain so we get our radar altimeter telling us how far. Once that parachute is fully deployed, you can EVA your Kerbal. And you can do another EVA report. This is an EVA report flying over the grasslands. I can again take that data from the capsule so that I can do another crew report once we've touched down on board. And now we can physics warp our way down to the bottom. Time warp, by the way, is period and comma for those people that don't know. Getting some little plants and things down here. Coming from Parallax. And boop, we are down. Okay, so we can do another crew report. And if I plan this a little better, I would have the thermometer and everything with me. I'd be able to do all of that too. We're kind of sunk into the ground here a little bit. But we can get out. We can do ourselves, get out, walk around a little bit. She doesn't need her helmet. But we can do an EVA report. And that's about it. Unfortunately. Did not. Could have been well better. Could have been well better planned. But, oh well, it's good enough. Okay, so that's, I think, all we're going to be able to do. So we're, look at the lovely woods. Pretty. Okay. Some nice grasslands. Let's recover the vessel. Oh, you can do an EVA report while jumping. That is very true. X-Stratifed, I hope I said that right, says if you jump, you're flying. And if you want an EVA report while flying, all you have to do is jump. That is 100% true, which is kind of funny. Okay, so again, we did get into space. So we satisfied one of the contracts, a bunch of world firsts. Still have, unfortunately, this stupid flea contract, which I'm really regretting picking up. After complaining about the park contracts, what I do is I take a park contract. Okay, let's see what we got. Now we do have Orbit Kerbin. I might put that one on hold for a little bit. We do have some observational surveys. You got to be really careful with these. So these are done for now in the atmosphere. You just need to fly to a waypoint and do what it says, do a crew report. But be really careful about whether this is above or below. Because if it says below, let's find one that says below. Here it is, below 18.2 kilometers. That's easy. If you can build a jet, you can just do that. When it says above, that's a pain in the posterior. It's like there's a crazy difference between below around 18 kilometers and above around 18, 19 kilometers. So be careful about that. Okay, I do have 124 science. So can I build a jet? I might just build a jet. Yeah, I can build a jet. Why not build a jet? I think I'll build a jet. For 45 science, I can get my introductory jet parts, including blinky lights. There were blinky lights there. We got some blinky lights. Yeah. And we also have, let's see, what do I got left? I got 79 left. I got reaction wheels, the bigger reentry pod. Science is never a bad idea, though. The Science Junior is probably a good plan. I think I'm going to build me a jet. What's over this way? Those are rocket parts. Let's go this way, get the Science Junior, which is awesome sauce. Yeah. Okay. Grab that. Still got 34. Can't do any of those, so might as well grab the general rocketry. Okay. But we're going to do a jet. We're going to do a jet, so we're going to go into the space. Oh, wait, first. Doop, doop, doop. First, let's get back out. We should grab a couple of contracts. I should grab me a couple of contracts. And then maybe after the jet, we'll go to orbit. That might be a good idea. So, mission control. For 75,000 Kerb bucks, you can upgrade mission control to tier 2, and that will allow you to carry 7 contracts. That's all. This is always a really good early upgrade to get, because with each contract you pick up, let's take a look at one of them, you do get an advance. So it's a very quick way to just get a lot of money, is to just grab some contracts with, of course, the plan to get them. So I'm going to grab this one here for this one here, fly over a waypoint, or below. I'm making sure every one of them says below. There. Gonna fly, this one's above, so I'm not gonna get that one. Any of the ones that say below, there's another one that says below I'm gonna grab. There's another one. And then I'm gonna avoid, unless these are, no, I'm gonna avoid all the part testing. I'm really regretting the one I got. We'll do Orbit Kerbin next. Do look, by the way, with these contracts, a lot of them do have expiry dates, expiry times. Some of them don't, though. Like, for instance, oh, this one does too. This one expires in a day. Wow. We're not going to be doing this for a day. I mean, we're only 30 minutes of game time in. So, that's okay. I think I'm good. I'm going to do what I just did. So, go in here. Going to open up my Contract Plus window. Here's one of the nice things I can do with Contract Plus window is, if I go to the flea one, which I'm not interested in doing with this mission, I can hide that contract. And now I'm not seeing it. Now, if I click up here, I can still see it. But this is now, I like it so that you only see the contracts you're really interested in. So I'm hoping, we should really check this. I'm hoping all those waypoints are close by. Usually with these first ones, they put them very close by. If any of them are on the other side of the planet, that'll be kind of mad. You can check where they are in the tracking station. So if I look in the tracking, let's close the Kerbal Engineer control bar. I don't care about you. Yep, they're all close by. So here is the KSC, and oh wait, let's open up the Contract Plus window again. Right here. Which ones are the ones I gotta do? I gotta go to Gerbert's Passion. Yep, that's right there. That's close by. I got to go to Sector R-HJCD. That's that one. And I gotta go to Kerbin's Hindsight, which is that one. These other ones are something else. Not gonna worry about it. Okay. Is there a mod that adds more tech tree nodes to spend science on? Absolutely. There are a lot of mods that modify the tech tree, many of which make it quite a bit bigger. My personal favorite is Unkerbal Start. I love that one. It starts you off with probe bodies and plane parts, and so you have to put your energy towards that, which I find, rather than going into space, a little bit more of a realistic progression, I think. Okay, so here we are in the spaceplane hangar. We're going to grab the Mark 1 cockpit right there for our pilot, and we're going to put on some science. So I do have the Science Junior. We'll put that on. just like so. Science Junior is a lot of science points. For now, I think that's all I'm going to do. Might put a second one on in a little bit. Don't know yet. Then I'm going to go to aerodynamics. We're going to grab the tail connector A to put a little bit of a tail on this thing. Might extend on this in a bit. I don't know. This isn't very long, but we'll see how this looks. Then I'm going to put on some... Some of these, I like, there's two different kind of cans here. There's the Mark 0 can and the Mark 1 can. This is an awful lot of liquid fuel. These two hold, by the way, liquid fuel only. So, but they hold an awful lot of them. This is for jet engines. That's a lot. So I'm going to instead use just these little ones. We're going to go on two-way symmetry. And I'm just going to stick them on the side here for now. Just like we're going to make a short-range jet. We're going to go over to engines, and I now have the J-20 Juno basic jet engine that I just unlocked. Now, for jet engines, you need to provide them with air in order for them to work. So we need an air intake. Those are found under aerodynamics. And we have these small circular air intakes. They're the only ones we got. So this will provide us with some thrust, and will provide us with, you know, flyitude like that. Now, obviously, a plane needs wings. They do have these. I find these are just kind of, well, maybe they're not that big. Let's go with the swept wings. Why not? We'll go with the swept wings. There's different choices here. Maybe I'll show people the different choices. There's these ones which, oh no, those are small. These ones aren't, I don't mind that. There's that. There's also these guys as well. You can go with wings. I'll go with these swept wings. Why not? And then what we'll do, just stick them on there for now. I'm just going to tweak them inwards. Actually, I'm going to change a couple things here. It's a good idea to attach the wings to the fuselage and then attach these guys separately so that you'll see why in a little bit they can be moved independently of each other. Oh, the wings should be higher. Not dork down like that. Okay, and these wings require control surfaces, so we need the Elevon 1, which goes at the back. And somehow I gotta get them... I am the worst for knowing which way. Oh, put the snap. There it is. Take the snap off. That helped. Okay. So that is that. This thing also needs some kind of rudder. The only option I really have are these tail fins, which are, I'll put it on single symmetry, which honestly are kind of huge. And now I'm going to take a look at where the mass and the lift is. For a plane, you want the lift to be just behind the center of mass. And you can see it is way behind the center of mass. So we need to bring this lift majorly forward. Now, there are some options here. I'm exploring my options. Like, let's take a look. We still got some more parts to put on, by the way, or aerodynamic parts. You could just slide these forward like that. That'll work. But then you get into the problem where your hatch gets covered. You can either slide these downwards and then slide them inwards like that. I think that's probably still interfering with the hatch. I suspect it is. So you can also slide them upwards. But then that looks kind of stupid. Stupid, I think so. Well, maybe not. I don't know. Different options. I'm just sort of... Nope, I need to take the snap off. Trying to see if I can make it look good this way. They're at a funny angle to each other, unfortunately. Okay, we'll tweak them further, but that is one option. Unfortunately, what you got to do also is you got to put on some to complete the tail. And these would be called elevators. And now you can see I really got to slide these wings even further forward. And that's looking exceedingly stupid. So the other option, instead of doing all this stuff that I'm doing here, is to simply put these at the front. In which case they're actually referred to as canards now. And then move these wings forward. Still kind of looks funny, but at least now my meh. We'll see. We'll see what she does. I always end up building these things differently. Maybe these swept wings weren't a good plan. Do I get less lift? Let's take these off. What if I went with these guys? I think I might be better off with these. I think I'm better off with those. Sorry, chucking those away. New idea. I think I get less lift with these. I think the swept wings are just too much lift. I'll say one thing, that for KSP2, that's one thing they do really well are the planes. They look so much better. I'm doing the same problem where I'm sticking this. There. I think that looks better. Bring them up a little bit. There we go. And we can take these nacelles, I guess is what you would call them, and we can move them outwards, move them downwards. By the way, if you run out of room to move it, like this won't slide here, I'll show this. This won't slide any further, but if you hold the shift key, you can slide it a lot further. Slide the wings down a little bit. Probably getting too much into the tweaky tweaks, but am I covering the hatch? I might be. So let's move these back. I think that looks a little better. I hope other people agree. If you don't, well, life's disappointing sometimes. Let's grab the wings, slide them back a little bit. There we go. That's all right. What about these guys at the front? We come down a little bit. A little bit further. There we go. You can also, by the way, affect where that center of aerodynamic pressure or center of lift is by tilting these. See how that, if you want? That's another way that works. So if you can affect that position by just the angle of attack of these parts. I'm going to keep it, though, horizontal. All right. We're going to go with this. Okay, so we'll tweak them again. More science parts. Yeah. I think it's all right. Okay, more science parts. So I put on I'm going to stick with just this. Well, let's, there's a gap here, so we're going to grab these wings. Slide them in just so that gap doesn't show. Okay. More science. That's what I was at. So we're going to put on a mystery goo. Just a single one. You can always fly this thing multiple times, too, if you want to collect more science. Put on a thermometer. Put it right about here. And a barometer. That's pretty much all of our science. And now what we need are some landing gear. So we do have these guys here. Now, these LY-01 fixed land are really spindly. They will break on you in a heartbeat. So one thing with landing gear is always make sure when you put them on that you have the snap on, or else they might not be going straight down and lined up straight. And then after you put them on, also the other thing you want to do is always attach them to the fuselage. So what I'm going to do is just take these. I put them on the tanks there, but they're actually way better off. Like, for whatever reason, Snap-on, oh, for goodness sakes, there. They're better off always attached to the fuselage, and then you can just take this and slide it back down again. They're stronger when they're attached to the fuselage. Like that. Okay. So what I want to do, let's grab these with the move tool, is put on the center mass. And you want the wheels a little bit behind the center of mass. So actually, that's probably pretty good where they are. And then you also want to give them a reasonably good, and if you run out of room, just hold the shift key and you can slide them out further, maybe down a little bit. You want them to have the wider the footprint you can give them here, a little bit lower too, so the back end won't end up whacking. That's pretty good for now. We'll see that. They might be too far forward, we'll find out. But you want them just a little bit behind the center of mass, because when the plane pitches up to take off, it's going to be pivoting on these wheels. And then we get this forward steerable one, the LY-05. Take the center of mass off, put the snap on, single symmetry, and that guy goes to the front. So, I don't know. It looks okay, I think. I think it looks okay. Now, when this guy is sitting on the runway, you want it to be pitched up slightly, and that will help with your takeoff. So the way to find that out is to grab it by the cockpit or hold the shift key, mouse wheel down till the wheels just begin to clip into the texture that makes up the floor, and you want the forward landing gear a little bit lower than the rear ones, which they are, so I might be good the way it is. I think this is looking like it's something that might just fly. Let's throw on some batteries. I don't know why, but I'm going to throw on some batteries. I guess because I can. And I'm going to throw on a Communitron 16S antenna. Single symmetry, and now I got to guess at the rotating. Oh, second try, I got it. Stick that in there. This one is really hard to break. This one is very easy to break. So when you're having something that's going to be deployed and communicating in the airstream, probably don't need it, but there it is. Okay, last thing I want to do with this plane, again, we'll take another quick look at the center of mass and center of lift. That's not bad. That's kind of like what you want, so we'll see how that goes. The last thing you want to do is tweak the aerodynamic control surfaces. You want each of them to be responsible for a different aspect of the plane's attitude control. So for instance, these guys on the wings, you want to control roll. So turn off the yaw, turn off the pitch. And again, these come only if you have tweaked on advanced tweakables. That it'll make the plane easier to fly. As well, I always find my planes are too twitchy, so I always just from default turn the authority limiter down to 10 degrees. On the tail fin here, tail fin is for, or the rudder here is for yaw control left and right, so we want to turn off the pitch, turn off the roll, and again, turn this down to like 10%. We can tweak that later if we don't like it. And then finally here, these canards are for pitch control. So turn off the yaw, turn off the roll. And again, I'm going to put them down to like 10%. And this is my first jet. We're going to save this, and we're going to give her a test fly. Well, thank you, Dragon's Battle. I'm glad you're enjoying the content. Jebediah, yeah, we'll go with Jebediah in here. And again, this is just going to be a test fly. We're going to probably tweak some things. If it goes well, we'll go with it. If not, we are giving ourselves permission to crash. Always give yourself permission to revert in this game. I once told myself I'm going to do a hardcore mode, no reverts, and I turned reverts off, which you can do in the settings. I would advise you never to do that. Okay? Put this on terrain, put this on free. Just that's a personal thing. Put on your SAS, throttle up because these engines require throttle control. So I hit Z to go to full thrust. And we're just going to hit the space bar, and we're going to see... Oh, take the brakes off would always be a good idea. I didn't put any lights on it either. We're going to put some lights on it when we get back. Okay, so we're pitching down the runway. When this gets around 50 meters per second, I'm going to pitch up. And we're going to see how she... Whoa, we're veering to one side. Well, it pitched up easy, but it did veer to one side. Oh, no, I don't know why. Okay, let's see what our control surface is. So it took off easy enough. The pitch control I like. Up and down like that. Okay. Our roll control. That's pretty good. Yaw control. That's a little bit heavy. We can put it down to 5. It's a big... Look at our palm trees down by the shore. Isn't that sweet? Got some nice palm trees down there. Okay. Let's give this some flying. Okay, let's see what... right now, I'm just kind of screwing around. So if I crash, I crash. It did kind of jerk to the left on the runway. That's maybe the front landing gear's fault. I'm not really sure. Oh boy. That was close. Okay. But, I mean, it flies well. I can't complain. There we go. And by the way, the closer the center of lift is to the center of mass, the more maneuverable your plane is. So this one actually has the center of lift pretty close, so it's not bad. But then the less stable it tends to be. But, yeah. I think this is pretty good. So all I did was tweak down to 5 degrees rather than 10 degrees. Sorry, I'm just going to have a little drink of water here. And we'll try and go for a landing. Now, these landing legs I mentioned at the back here are very spindly. Oh, the other thing I should do... oh well, we'll just leave it. I should disable the brakes on the front ones. Okay, where are we? There we go. I like this plane! I do. Okay, throttle off. It took off no problem at 50 meters per second, so its stall speed has to be below 50 meters per second. You don't want to come in, and stall speed, I mean, what's the speed you need to go and still keep a level flight? So I'm now down to 60 meters per second. You don't want to be much above your stall speed when you come in for your landing. I mean, you want to be above it so you don't just drop on the runway, but you don't want to be much above it because you, especially on these terrible landing gear. Okay, we're going to try and come down nicely and gently and... Oh my gosh. Oh, yeah. Okay, so, well, I mean, we survived. Okay, let's revert flight. Back to the spaceplane hangar. It's funny, on my plane tutorial, I often get people complaining about, they're my landing gear. You can see it's not just you. It's me too. Okay, so I'm going to take these guys. We're going to... Let's see. They're pretty bouncy, weren't they? So... Can I not... Oh, these guys don't have brakes, so I don't have to worry about the brake part of it. I think just the back ones, really, that are the problem. Brakes are fine. Let's see. Spring dampener override. So we're going to up the spring strength to 2. Up the dampeners as well. 2 point... There we go. Brakes, I'm not worried about. It's the spring strength that is the... same with this one. Spring strength up to... I don't think the front one's real. I think the back one was really the issue with that bounciness at the end. And then, probably get into the friction control and up the friction on the rear landing wheels, and that will help you stick the landing a little bit better. I think, though, what we're going to do... I think I'm going to call... here. I didn't test if the hatch. I'm just noticing these are pretty darn close to the hatch. Okay, we're gonna see what happens here. See what happens. We can always revert. Another successful landing for Jeb. I am giving myself full permission to revert and quick save and all of that, especially with planes in these terrible landing gear. The landing gear are so much better once you get those deployable ones. I still forgot to put lights on it. Oh well, whatever. Okay, so let's see here. We're only going to be able to do one of these, but I think this will be from the runway. Yep, 3 science from the runway. We've already done a flying one, so there's no sense to do that. I'll save this one for when we're flying. We can do a temperature scan from the runway. We can do a pressure scan from the runway. We can do a crew report from the runway. By the way, every building here, and some of the buildings are more than one biome, but everyone's at least one biome. So if you drive around, you can collect a lot of science just touring the KSC. Okay, let's get out Jebediah. Good. I'm glad to see he got out no problem. Let's take his helmet off. And can we climb up on the top? I'm holding F, but it doesn't like that. Can I reach this stuff? Again, poor design on my part. I can. Can I reach this guy? Oh, that doesn't really matter. We can do an EVA report, though. So there we go. Oh, and just to show people as well, let's drop down. Okay, we did an EVA report from the runway. Oh, we're going to need to store it because we already have an EVA report. So I'm going to go over here. We're going to take this and we're going to get a little closer. There we go. We're going to take that crew report, but then we're going to store our experiments so that we clear up the EVA experiment that Jeb has. But if I grab Jebediah, pin the menu, if I jump and do an EVA report, oh, I hit the parachute. I did. Okay, I got to make sure my mouse is in the right spot. I just did flying over Kerbal shores for 5.6. So that was Jeb flying. So that's a silly little trick, but it does work. All right. All right. Yeah. Yeah. And we jump. We can reach that. And board. Okay, so let's see here. Again, that there. Camera to free. SAS on. I'm going to quick save. So if this goes terribly wrong, I can revert back. Brakes off. Throttle up. Engines on. Oh, and we got some waypoints to go to. I'm completely forgetting. So let's get up and I'll talk about Waypoint Manager. Let's get up. Oh, shoot. Waypoint. Oh, I don't like jeepers. See, okay, that's why I quick save. So there is something up with those landing gear. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I should probably just, this is always the advice I give people when people tell me to do this, is I should probably just take off those rear ones and put them on again. That often fixes the problem, but I might, let's see if we can make it work. Anyway, let's take a look at contracts. So I forgot entirely, I do have some contracts here. So open up the Contracts Plus window. And I got 3 waypoints I got to hit. And they do have the waypoints here on Waypoint Manager. And so I love how it gives me the distance to each of these waypoints. So the one, oh my gosh, I have desert airfields. There's too many. What's the closest one? I got 40.2, this one here, 30.6 kilometers, and I can select it just by doing that, and now I got that waypoint selected. Now the alternative to that in stock is to go out here, find, is it this one I did? Yeah, right click on it and say activate navigation. Accomplishes the exact same thing, but Waypoint Manager is a really nice little tool there. Okay, we're going to try this again. So throttle up, brakes off. Concentrate. If I crash this time, I'm going to replace those landing gear and hopefully it won't be so wonky. It really wants to go on. We got some bounciness going on. Come on, up, 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 up. Oh my god, the landing's going to be fun though, isn't it? Okay, so I got my waypoint selected. Now what is super groovy is Waypoint Manager. If I was again playing in stock, I do want to tell, I can see here the waypoints to the south of me, so I need to go towards the south, I would do this and head southwards, and I can see the waypoint on the Navball. But Waypoint Manager does a couple of other things. Number one is it makes the waypoint visible in flight view, which is great. The other thing that it does too is it gives you some information. I'm 53 kilometers away. I'm going to be there at my current speed in about 6 minutes. I can also get into the settings and give me a heading to target, and it tells me that I got to head at a heading of 180.8 degrees, which is like, oh, okay, I can change my heading here. So it's not something that, you know, this is one of these things, I wish you could at least see the waypoints in the stock game. I find that really handy. Now, what do I got to do when I get there? That would be handy to know. So I'm going to be there any minute now. Which is this one? Zoltronic something, whatever. Kerbin's Hindsight. This one. I got to do a crew report, so let's get ready to do a crew report. Let's get ready to do a crew report. Yeah, I really do need to tweak that plane. I think I should just take the landing gear off. But you know what? We're gonna kind of roll with it. Like take these landing gears off and replace them. I don't think the back ones are quite right. So basically now I'm just waiting until the waypoint starts to flash, and that will tell me I'm close enough. I need to be below 18.5 kilometers in altitude, but you can be as much below as you want. You can see I'm nowhere near that altitude. It doesn't matter. And then when I get there, I need to do a crew report. So at some point, I'll get a little message saying that we're close enough. Oh, I should actually probably time warp a little bit here. Okay, we're 18 kilometers away. It should be pretty soon. I think it's when you're around 10, maybe? I don't know. Keep that. I don't need to go up. Why am I going up? Don't go up. That's just dumb. Keep your speed up. Should be getting up. There it is. So there's the message. The waypoint starts blinking. I do myself a crew report, and the contract here has gone green. Crew report's not worth anything, but that doesn't matter. And then I need to open up Waypoint Manager and find the next closest one. Or again, I can go into map view, but I like this better. So there's one at 66 kilometers and another one, I guess that's the closest one. Yep, so we'll pick that. Heading of 332. There it is. So it makes this all much, much easier. I can get rid of that contract now. This one is another crew report, so that's cool. Well, euphemism, I'm very glad you find my stuff useful. I'm not entirely sure about this jet, but it seems to be getting the job done. Definitely the landing gear need to be. And again, I would just say to people that are getting frustrated with the landing gear, it's not just you, it's everybody. My best piece of advice, take them off, put them back on again, and hopefully it'll be better. Maybe, I do have them tweaked outwards quite a lot. Maybe that was a mistake. I don't know. Time warp. Let's get there. You should drain the monopropellant. 100% true. Lindo, thank you very much. I do have monopropellant in this cockpit, as I did with the two capsules in the rockets I did beforehand. Monopropellant I am not using, and you can save yourself a little bit of weight by removing that in the vehicle assembly building. Unfortunately, I can't do that here, but that would have been a good idea. I always forget that one. Alright, so where are we here? Still 30 kilometers away. Let's get there. I'm on time warp, so everything's a little bit glitchy and funny. Alright, so I'm looking, yeah, probably not going to get into an orbit, but definitely next week we'll definitely do the orbit business. Okay, we're flashing. Time warp off, crew report. Crew report, there we go. So again, that one goes green. And we have one more at Gerbert's Passion. We'll open up Waypoint Manager again, select Gerbert's Passion. It is only 13 kilometers away, a heading of 285. Oh, I can see it on the Navball here. And again, all Waypoint Manager is doing is just making my life easier. And life easier is not a bad thing. You know, it saves me from having to go out here and just right-clicking and selecting the nodes that way. And also makes the node visible. There it is there. Oh, we're there. Is it a crew report again? Yes, crew report. Done. Oh, this one's flying over the Highlands. Nice, okay. So that one actually has some science connected to it. Which reminds me, I should be able to do a temperature scan flying over the Highlands. Oh, I'm flying over mountains now. I've forgotten entirely about my material study. Let's do that. And the material study is 17.5 science, flying at Kerbal. And the barometer, I'm not entirely... Oh, I didn't even do it while flying at Kerbal, so I've been forgetting about my side. I love ReStock's retexturing of... I'm not crashing into a map, man, I know. Of this. Notice the little tomato plant, little, I don't know, little squeegee toy there, someone's moldy sandwich. Some, you know, new age crystals. Nice. Okay, so we're here. We can get rid of that. We can get rid of our contracts plus window. Now comes the fun part of getting this thing home. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. That is going to be fun. So we clearly need to turn around. Getting some nice mountain views, so. And I'm just, I don't know, trying to just get some nice mountain passes here without crashing, of course. Alright, so, oh, I can use this too. You can actually put a waypoint out there. There's the KSC, see? So you actually get a heading and stuff. Pretty quick. That's good. Don't need to keep that. The heading for the KSC is great, especially for if you're coming from far away. Can I land the plane anywhere? The answer to that question is yes, absolutely. I can land it anywhere. I do not trust these landing gear on anything. Well, I don't trust them, period. But I would like to get as flat a surface as I can to land them on. So I am heading back towards the runway. There's also, for me, I don't know, something personal. I like landing on the runway. But that could be just me. But yes, to recover this plane, I could just land anywhere. There is a very slight cost improvement for actually putting it on the runway, but it's not much. And the runway isn't that flat either. That is 100% true. It gets better when you get off of that Tier 1 runway. I am 100% going to be doing a quick save just to let people know. And yes, X-Stratified is saying the best option is to land on the water with these wheels, and that's my backup plan. I'm going to quick save. There we go. And if this is an unmitigated disaster, in other words, if Jeb does not survive, then I'm going to revert back to that quick save I just did and put it down in the water. Landing in the water is safer than landing with these. And again, between the streams, I might tweak with these guys a little bit. See if I can get them to not be so terrible. But they are terrible. They're terrible landing gear. What can I say? Okay, so we're slowing down. I've just cut my engines. Again, the idea is when you get towards the runway, you can... you don't want to be going much above your stall speed, which for this plane's around 50 meters per second. And you can do little flares like this, little ups and downs. That bleeds off a lot of speed. So that's an option. I might, rather than landing on the runway, I might just land on the grass beside the runway. I honestly believe it's flatter. So I might just do that. And then I'll drive on the runway and go, ta-da! Okay, so gotta watch my altitude coming up over the treetops here. Gotta watch my vertical speed. I gotta be as gentle. I'm not going for the runway on purpose. I think it's actually flatter on the... lead a little bit, as much speed as I can. Okay, really gently. Very gently. Feather touchy. Feather touchy. Here we go. Here we go. Feather touchy in the grass. Ha ha ha! Oh, 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 whoa, whoa! I'm not doing anything. I'm just letting this settle itself out. It's doing itself a little power slide. I'm okay with that. You can do a power slide. It does not want to steer. Here we go. Back this way. That was hair raising. That was hair raising. I tells ya. We'll give it a little bit of gas here. Okay, we now got ourselves a little car. Oh, look at the daisies! Aw. Look at the daisies here. Those are actually monster daisies, but they're pretty. Okay, I've not played with Parallax before. I've always taken it off because of performance issues that I have with it, but I did upgrade my graphics card for KSP 2. So I got to do something with that graphics card, so I got Parallax back installed. I'm going... Where's my runway? Oh, I'm way past the runway. I just want to show people before I'm done that how you can, and I'm not going to do it now because it gets pretty tedious, but you can build yourself a little jet car at this stage of the game. Basically just take something like this, take the wings off, and just drive it around the KSC. You will find yourself all kinds of science that you can collect doing that. So I'm just going to go over to, say, one of these buildings just to kind of show you. Going to get ourselves out of the rough here. There is a bit of an uphill, so hopefully this won't have any trouble doing the uphill. I'm going to take the uphill on a little bit of an angle. Oop, nope, not too much throttle. Up we go, up we go, up, 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 up. Nicely done, Jebediah. There we go. Okay. And if you bring yourself in, park right next to one of these buildings. Come on, brakes on. So this is the administration building, the Tier 1 administration building. And if EVA Jeb, actually what I should do too is collect me some science. Take that, take that, take that crew report. EVA Jeb, and get on down. And I can do an EVA report, and you can see here I'm doing an EVA report from the administration building for 2.4 science, and I could do that, like, I know this flagpole is another biome, and then the astronaut complex is a biome, and there's a couple of biomes in around the research and development, and there's biomes around all of the buildings that you see here, and as you upgrade buildings you actually get new biomes. That is really, really cheap, easy science. So if you want, you can build yourself a little jet car and just go around and tour all that. Or not. It's up to you, but it is there. Let's do a temperature scan. Yep, by the administration building. Temperature readings are quite literally nominal. Not sure. Okay, and then Another one from the, and then we can do a crew report from the administrative building. So, you know, fair amount of science to get here. Anyway, I'm thinking, let's see here. Yeah, I'm thinking, let's recover. Not quite on the runway, but that's okay. The flagpole isn't a, no, I'm pretty sure the flagpole is a biome. I have gone and nuzzled up. You got to get really close to it. Like really close, like straddling it with your jet. But there are multiple biomes. Okay, so anyway, I mean, we recovered, we did some contracts here. We recovered 64 science. I've hardly optimizing this, I don't think. I'm now up to 79.5 science, so we'll unlock ourselves some more stuff. But I'm hoping that, you know, somebody relatively new to the game can take a look at this, fiddle around. For a new player, give yourself permission to fail. This game is all about failing and learning from those failures. Don't let yourself get frustrated. But once you sort of get some things down, it can be exceedingly rewarding. So, next week I'm going to do this again. And we're going to definitely build ourselves a rocket capable of getting itself into orbit. Probably aim our sights a little bit higher. Maybe do a little bit of stuff in orbit around the moon. But all of that is going to have to be for next week, as I think is obvious. I'm going at this with absolutely no plan whatsoever. Nevertheless, I hope people enjoyed what they saw. If you're in the chat right now, thank you very much for being there. If you're watching this at a later date, thank you again for watching this video, and don't hesitate to leave a comment down there in the comments section. And if you are a patron or YouTube member, my most heartfelt thanks for continually supporting this channel. It kind of boggles my mind that I have people that keep me wanting to do this, and all I'm doing is having fun. But thank you very much. Have yourselves a great week, and we'll see you all next Tuesday. Bye, everybody.